honey.
It is noon o'clock.
Oh, it's noon. Oh, it's noon 01. So I guess that means we're going to start. So today's question is...
Strange. Look, the clock's caught up. They're even again today.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
There was something very like other earthly about them not being on the same minute.
So take it away, Mama.
What are some of your pet peeves about other people? Do you see these pet peeves in your own behavior? So, as has been the case lately, Master Hurricane has forwarded some things for thought, and I did the same thing. The first thing I did was look up what is a pet peeve.
Did you write that?
No, I did not.
I think I wrote that.
That's not even my handwriting. So a
funny.
pet peeve is a frequent subject of complaint, a behavior or situation that generates slight annoyance in people.
This is going to be a lengthy list.
Oh, I have a list of 75 here, just so you know. There was a list of 75. Yes, chewing with their mouths open. Where do you see the list? There's a long list.
And that's right up there in bold.
Loud chewing or drinking is right up there at the front. But literally,
I wasn't aware of it until Evie. I was with Evie.
Yeah.
And it's imagine like chewing granola with your mouth open.
Yeah.
That type of grinding. Or popcorn, right? Or...
Yeah.
But I wasn't aware of it until she said she was annoyed at it.
And then
I noticed it. No, not everywhere, but I noticed it that I was doing it.
You do it, yeah. Well, that was part of the reason, part of the benefit of doing this is understanding pet peeves that many people find annoying can improve your relationships and interactions that are going poorly. They're not things that are not so much that they're inappropriate or rude, that they necessarily warrant taking action, but they're generally bothersome in a way that will make you roll your eyes in frustration.
I was hoping there'd be like some insightful thing to go with it.
The thing. Well, I don't know about some of these descriptions are a little bit more insightful, but the thing that I thought was good about it is being aware of what pet peeves are for people. I can become more aware of my own behavior and at least like stop myself from doing things that aren't bothersome to me, but I come to find out are bothersome to other people. There was a period of time way early in my life that I think I chewed with my mouth open. I didn't even pay attention. And then as a matter of it being somebody's pet peeve or somehow it made its way across to me, I became aware of that, you're better to chew with your mouth closed.
Yeah. So let's see. So do you want to do the list?
Sure, we can do the list. Because there's a lot of cool stuff on that. There's a lot of fun stuff.
And you read up to here, correct? Here.
I read to here, so this is the first one.
Okay. Micromanagement. Oh! I'm not a fan of management. Like, bad management.
I'm not a fan of micromanagement. If you give me something to do, trust me to do it, and don't stand here and tell me every step to do. Because if you want to tell me to that degree how to do it, you might as well do it yourself.
Essentially, it says that you can't do it your work well, so I'm going to do it for you.
Right,
or
in which case you might as well do it.
Loud chewing or drinking. It's an unpleasant sound to hear and is rude.
I do think some people, because earlier it said that these are not necessarily rude or terribly inconsiderate. I mean, there's some things that cross over a line from being pet peeve into being completely inconsiderate or rude. And I think the degree to which that's true dictates to what degree an intervention should happen. When you make that face, what's that?
No, so it's going to come when we talk about BDSM, but I'm just going to take notes on it.
Okay. Oh, yeah. There's BDSM pet peeves.
All right,
sure.
so being late. Being late's another one.
OMG. We've talked about this in the last week. I was raised up in high school by a very special teacher to me. Early's on time, on time's late. And I carried it with me everywhere I go. I'm one of those, as a restaurant manager, I was one of those managers that was like, if I don't look up in your station and you're in it, fully in uniform, ready to go at your appointed time, you are late. People hated me.
You know what we'll do? As we go down, we'll say how each one applies to the community. Fair? So micromanagement, how would you say the facilitator or the host who doesn't allow things to be done, but they do it in a way that they're over everyone's shoulder all the time.
Right, like if an event promoter, someone said that they were new, or they asked for some initial help maybe in setting up and doing a scene, like beyond that, like coming back and hovering or trying to like interject or whatever would be micromanaging.
What about empower exchange?
Well, I mean, if as a dominant you're going to give a submissive a task, let them do it. Let them do it even if they're not doing it the way you would have them do it. Like, let them finish the task. Don't micromanage the task, and then go back and review it after they've had a chance to do the task. Rather than saying, you're not doing that right, don't do it like that. It's like, I don't think anybody responds well to being told to do something and then being told every step to do it, or being made wrong for every step they're taking while they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I don't learn well that way. All I do is get frustrated and angry, and then I can't learn anything.
The loud chewing or drinking, when it comes to community, makes me think of just people who are speaking loud. Or I was facilitating this one event, intensive years ago, and I understand that BDSM is intense. I understand there's going to be yelling and crying, but then there's the person who just goes way over the top.
Like when they're in the scene?
Yeah, in the scene. Where they're just, the screaming is just like, it's grand. Like, it's unnecessarily Hollywood.
Right, like it seems like it's like overly done.
Way overly done.
Right, that it's not, there's an element of it that can't possibly just be authentic.
Yeah.
Like an authentic expression of whatever is happening in the scene.
And that rips people out of their headspace. Right?
Well, the people around them, yeah. Because the truth would be, even if, let's say, being that loud and over the top is your natural response, in a public play space, I think it is appropriate to say, hey, I get you're doing you, but that's that thing about the radio on the train.
Yeah.
Like, your right to be that expressive ends where other people's rights to have scenes quiet enough in a public dungeon space begins, right? Like, if you're yelling so loudly that I can't hear my bottom safe word, then you need to be told to like bring it down a notch.
Exactly. Actually, a couple scenes stopped because of it. Because of how
that
loud.
Yelling that time, yeah.
Being late. I mean, if that's trust and respect.
Well, it depends. I mean, it depends on what being late. If you say you're going to come in, if you say to me, "How can I help?" and I say, "With the event starts at 8, please come at 7:30 to help," and you don't, then I consider you late. Like, no, you volunteered. Yes, you didn't have to, but if you went to the trouble to ask me and I gave you time and you didn't show up, that's as good as late to me.
Yeah, because
I counted on
because
you
I'm allotting manpower. I'm allotting logistics based off of how many folks are going to show up to assist.
Yeah.
And because that'll give us enough time to rest beforehand, right? Because we're not machines. We can't run into these, and we do more often than not run into facilitating, but it's like, if I can get that extra 30 minutes before just to close my eyes, like that means the world of difference.
Right, and that's something like between you and me, but with, like, I don't mind rolling into the event from the front end, but it's really helpful for me to know if someone says I'm going to be there that has the ability to be stronger than me or carry things or whatever the things that I can't do by myself, then that upsets the whole thing. Yeah. Right? Like, you don't get that rest because I don't get the support that someone promised they'd give. Yeah. So that's where being late becomes inconsiderate, really. And
if you're connecting with someone, you're setting up play dates, someone being late it's not and circumstances aside, right? Like something happens, but if it's just a consistent lateness for one reason or another, it's usually a sign of bad self-management or a genuine lack of regard for other people's time. Yeah. So interrupting. I find it a pet peeve during a debate. I don't find it a pet peeve when someone's genuinely curious to ask another question, as opposed to interrupting to interject their side before, like I do a lot, right? But it's like, God damn it, Joshua.
I feel the same way. You said it, and I was like, "Oh man, there I am."
Right? No, but it's
hard to get. You know what? These are challenging when for me, like this interrupting thing has just made itself aware or known to me at a level that I had never seen it in myself before. And it feels, I'm not ashamed of it, but when you realize that you're doing something, and at my age, I realize I'm doing it now, which means I've been doing it for all these years. There's that sort of weighty feeling for me of like, wow, how many conversations have I interrupted? How many people have I stopped from feeling like they could say what they needed to say because I interrupted in my whatever, my enthusiasm, my untreated ADHD, whatever the hell it is. But like, so there's a heavy feeling involved with that till I can like get past it, correct it, and then cut myself in grace for just not knowing better.
Yeah. When it comes to interrupting within the lifestyle, I mean, consider negotiations or connection. Is the person even hearing me?
Right.
Are they listening to listen, or are they listening to respond?
Because when somebody intervenes like that, it feels like they're just listening to respond.
Yeah.
Like that they were just waiting for you to finish speaking so they could say what they wanted to say, which then results in feeling like you must not have been heard.
Yeah. Or like Lace said, people telling me what they know what I'm thinking. Then argue when I tell them they're wrong.
One of the symptoms of the ADHD thing that I've been going through for diagnosis says, do you find yourself finishing other people's sentences? And that's that thing, and I know that thing from an earlier time in my life where you think you're sure what someone's going to say, so you end up mouthing it with them at the end, whether you were really going to be right or not. It's a weird phenomenon, but I had never seen it listed as something, and I know that I used to do it, and it bothered me at a certain point, so it was something I trained myself to stop doing.
Cool. Do you want to check the comments? There's a ton of stuff.
Oh. Yes.
Six says I cannot with micromanagement. Oh.
Yeah.
When I worked for the government, dude, it was like that was the worst. Oh, micromanagement. And then in the military. No. Thank you, Staff Sergeant Eisberg. He did not micromanage at all. We were all adults and we were all responsible for our responsibilities. Imagine that.
So some of the comments. Okay. Sassafras says something about wow. Okay, I missed a whole interchange with each other. That sounds like it was all personal chit chat, which is cool. So something's is a legal medical condition, but I'm not sure which one they were referring to. Samantha says, my main one, when my classes start, I start them. That's the on-time thing. I totally get that.
Yes.
And we don't interfere in a scene and talk during a scene, right? Not just interrupting, but speaking over. So my mom still tells me the correct way to sweep. Thanks, Mom. 30 years on my own, I think I'm okay. Showing up unannounced. I'm very time-oriented and hate being late for anything. To do breaks promises. 10 minutes early is on time means you're late. Same thing. Do not break promises was the comment back. Like, let's see.
Leaving barely a sip of beverage in the container.
Oh my God, that is one. Like the milk containers, like almost empty. A memory for detail. Some people interrupt because of trauma, not feeling like they are, not feeling like they are made this space to talk. I feel that too. People telling me that they know what I'm thinking, then argue with me when they tell me, and I tell them, and they tell me I'm wrong. Some people interrupt because of ADHD, etc. Brain works faster, right? Many reasons why people interrupt. So it's a good idea to know why you interrupt. Like, where does your interruption stems from? Since there's different reasons why people do it.
Generally because I'm right. Samantha's sitting over there doing stickers, and she glances over every now and then, depending on what I answer. So now I'm shooting for,
I see.
for responses.
That's so funny. Ooh, putting dirty dishes on the clean dish mat.
Oh, yes. The next one on here is talking during a movie.
Oh man.
Dude, cell phones on during a movie.
Right, I was just to say, the only thing worse is the light of your cell phone being on during a movie.
Oh my God. People who walk slow.
Pastor Joshua is always right.
Well, Thank you, Jim. Jim understands. Jim
Oh.
understands.
Well, that's what that is. I got you.
So, Master Hurricane, you and I cannot watch a movie together.
That's so funny.
People who walk slow, circumstantially, I mean, that I can't even argue with that.
Okay,
because
listen to me.
of chronic pain, of whatever the circumstances. Now, if someone is just fucking, their head is in the clouds all the time, when it's like, hey, do me a favor, get that bag. Dude, get the bag.
Here's my issue. The 3.5 years I worked in Times Square, tourists walk down the sidewalk 4 wide, slow as can be,
Shoulder to shoulder,
chit-chatting, looking around, and then stop short so they can take out their cameras and take pictures, completely oblivious to the fact that they're in the middle of the sidewalk and no one can get around them. Yes, I have issues with the slow walking. I'm short. I am double timing it always, but it's slow for most. That's fair. I suppose the difference is effort.
Yeah.
Right? The thing you just imitated looked like somebody who could be moving faster and for some reason is choosing not to.
Yes.
Right?
Or they're just unaware of what their speed is.
Some of that is cultural.
Yeah.
I was 14 years old when I moved from New York to South Florida in the 70s. I stood in every grocery line with my head screaming because people were like, "Hi, how you doing?" And they're scanning the groceries, chit-chatting like everybody's got all day. And I was a teenager from New York.
It still triggers you, apparently.
Apparently. It's not as bad anymore, though.
Staring at someone's phone. I don't think that's a pet. I think it's a pet peeve when it's over my shoulder. But if it's over someone else's shoulder, I don't think it's a pet peeve. I think it's interesting.
Oh, you think it's interesting? I was going to say, I don't think it's a pet peeve. I think it's rude and inappropriate for anybody ever.
I'm like, no, don't say that.
That's so funny.
That's hilarious. This is a list and a half.
Yeah, no, I know. Oh, hey, family yours. Keeping up with my stepdad that was 6'4" when I was 4'11". People think I walk too fast. I guess that's how you learn how to walk.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, I see. Trigger warning is a person on here.
Ah.
Took me a minute to figure that out.
There you go.
Yeah.
Clipping your nails in public.
Oh.
That's beyond pet peeve. That's disgusting.
In your house? Okay. But like on the train?
What about at a dinner table at a restaurant? No?
Stop right now. Just stop that conversation right there.
Are you not into that?
That's
Is that
gross.
not your thing?
That's gross.
That violates my consent from here.
Standing too close to another person. On the train, yes.
Well, some of that is situational and some of that is cultural.
Well, no, I mean, if the train is packed, clearly there's no choice.
Right.
But
I mean, as Americans, we have this tendency to like in the train is a good example. We have all of this need for personal space that only collapses when everyone is as spread out as they can be on the train, and then it gets more and more crowded, then the space has to get more collapsed. But if the train was wide open and you walked up to somebody and walked this close to them, they would look at you like you were crazy. They'd step away. They'd feel like there was something wrong with you. That's not true in all cultures in terms of a perceived sense of personal space. Some of it's different in different places.
so when it comes to the BDSM lifestyle and events and stuff, I think the culture there says space.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Well,
like,
that's why we negotiate proximity.
yeah.
How close can I be to your body? Like, we don't take it for granted how comfortable we are being next to one another, even if we're going to engage.
Yeah. Even if we're not going to engage.
Yeah, well, especially, but, you know, that whole thing about giving a scene space. Like, you don't walk right up to the scene just because you want to see it better. Like, we give people space.
Talking to someone with headphones in is listed on here. So, meaning if someone's distracted and you just walk up to them and you start, like, you're talking to them, clearly, like, they got the headphones in, they don't want to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But you engage with them.
Right, oh, that's what that is. Yeah, that's... As opposed to just trying to get their attention, and see if they want to like stop what they're doing to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
In some ways, it's almost like interrupting someone's conversation. Only you're just not hearing what's on the other side of the conversation.
Yeah. Let's see. Staring at people's listed. There's a couple other things that aren't like speaking about yourself in the third person.
That's just weird to me. What would I say? That's just weird. She thinks that's weird? Is that what I would do if I was going to speak about myself in the third person?
Cat thinks that's weird.
Oh, I would say cat. Well, cat thing. That just sounds...
Mistress cat, no.
A mistress cat now. But I'm sorry, talking about yourself like that just sounds like a clinical diagnosis waiting to happen.
So, leaving the water running, cracking knuckles, tapping or clicking a pen.
The tapping or clicking of the pen is one of those things that literally I get.
Like this? Or like this one?
Like that?
It sounded like crickets for a second.
It's one of those things that I get isn't, and here some of my stuff that are pet peeves strike me really hard because I consciously understand there's nothing rude or inconsiderate about clicking your pen. No, not really. To me, it feels like the biggest offense, and it becomes all I can do is think about until I just want to like smack the pen out of your hand. So it's a tough one for me.
All right, cool. Someone put nails on the chalkboard. Can you guys throw a few more comments in that? I see that and I can feel that in my fingertips and in my body. Yes, just
so guilty
throw in a couple more
pen.
comments.
Yeah,
please
yeah.
Get that up. I feel it. I can't look at it. Maybe
Fatal Yours will get the number 1 glitter badge and then it'll go away. Maybe one for me wanting to be upset because I don't want to argue with them.
That's fair. That's an outlet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I've done that. No, it's all good, Samantha. I felt that right away. Whew.
Yeah. Well, I have that thing with whistling.
Yeah.
And whistling, I could just consider it a pet peeve, except that I know it has an ontological point for me. Oh, look, you have a little thing on your head. Yay. It has a place where it started for me, and I know what that is, and I've done all kinds of work. Oh, look, I have one too. Thank you. I have all kinds of work that I've done around it, but it still bothers me. It's just when someone's whistling, and it's so sad to me because usually people whistle when they're happy or when they're like singing a song to themselves and they're in a really good space. And then there it is, and like my whole body goes, and I'm like, oh, I wish this didn't bother me so much.
Correcting grammar or pronunciation. I guess in the middle of what they're saying. It says it can make the speaker lose their train of thought, and their patience will be close behind going off the track. That's so fucking funny.
Yeah, I'm a stickler for grammar and punctuation and spelling and stuff, but I would never interrupt someone while they were speaking. Although there have been times where I hear somebody make the same mistake over and over again in a really blatant way, and because I don't think to come back to them around when they're not saying it, there's a part of me that really wants to say it when I've heard it like the 10th time.
Using literally in every sentence. Yes! Oh, man.
Or awesome, or really, or anything.
No, like, and then you literally, like, just have to literally pick up the pen and literally sign the paper, like, oh my God. When I was over there down filing that paperwork a couple weeks ago, the person I was dealing with was between literally and end. I'm like, dude. So what you're telling me is, like, I had to, anyway, it's annoying to me. It is a pet peeve.
Isn't this funny how some things are so annoying to one person and not so much to another?
Dog owners not picking up after their pets.
That to me is just inconsiderate and rude. That's not a pet peeve.
Here in the city for sure.
I mean,
like on the sidewalks and stuff. But what about if it was in their own backyard?
If it's in your own backyard, or if it's in a state, even in dog parks, isn't there in dog parks?
There's dog park etiquette. Yeah.
There's etiquette, right? If it's in your own backyard, then it's your poop to stand in. But if you're anywhere out in not your private property and your dog poops. I think it's not I don't think that's a pet peeve. I think that that's a cut and dried appropriate or inappropriate behavior.
What about in the woods?
You're really trying to push this, aren't you?
I'm kidding. All right. Let's see. Pushy salespeople.
Pushy salespeople only bother me when, and I'm not one to do this across markers, but if you're a single woman and you walk onto a car lot versus being either a single man or a couple that has a man and a woman in it, the treatment is unbelievably different. And for me to have, and I've had this happen where I've been like pushy sales at, like people have come at me all pushy as salespeople with an attitude that like they have to do it because they somehow know something I don't know.
Yeah.
And the underlying idea is that I don't know it because I'm a woman, and how could I know that about cars?
The way that translates it over to me in the community are pushy people who want to play.
Yeah.
And they're selling their skill set, or they're selling their abilities and their likes, like
Yeah.
they're doing you the privilege of bottoming for them.
Right. Top or bottom.
Topping them.
Right,
It's
right.
like,
Man.
it's like, well, hi, what's your name? Pessimism. Huge one for me.
Yeah, we've talked about that this week.
Huge one for me. Here's a good one. Being told to calm down.
Regardless of the pet peeveness of that for someone or not, it's generally ineffective, so there's really no reason to be doing it. When someone's upset, if they could be less upset, they probably would be.
Passive aggressive comments. The only thing that's worse than someone being straight up rude to your face is having the attack be sugar coated.
Yeah. Yeah, no, passive aggressive comments just feel yucky.
Waiting for an elevator. That's weird. You finally arrived at the last step of reaching your destination. A simple elevator ride. It can be a pet peeve for many to wait in a lobby for what feels like forever, waiting for it to arrive.
I think there's a certain, because we're in New York City, there's elevators everywhere, right? I think that there's a certain average agreement of time that one can reasonably expect to wait for an elevator, and I think that when it pushes past that is when people start to get
The slow ones.
Yeah.
Ding. And then you're just watching it just move so slow.
Right.
The old elevators.
Right.
Or
Or there's nowhere to see. There's no way to see where the elevator is.
Yes.
There's no.
Or when the lights are broken.
Right.
Children crying on planes. Sneezing or coughing without covering your mouth. Excessive public displays of affection. What do you feel about that?
I feel like my feelings about that have changed over the years. When I was young, and I was very affectionate, dare I say, like almost hypersexual, I didn't care. I thought it was nobody's business. I didn't care who I made out with. I was totally okay with any of it. People tried to like shame me out of it, and I didn't even care. And now I feel like there's a degree of it that's appropriate, and then I feel like there's a degree of it that's just gratuitous, or in like oblivious or inconsiderate to the degree of, you know, what does everybody want in their face, or not?
I mean,
How about you?
one, I'd have to define what affection is, right? Where was it? Oh, God damn it. Public So, like, I use the leash in public,
Yeah.
and that's affection.
Yes.
But I also don't, like you said, there's a level of intimacy and affection that becomes gratuitous.
I think, I mean, and for our culture, I think it's like one thing to kiss. It's even one thing to have like a really like sexy kiss if you're gonna exchange a little tongue for a second or two. But to stand on the train platform and like, you know, shove your tongue down each other's throats and gyrate and ride all around. And
During rush hour.
yeah, it's like.
Because I'll tell you what, if it's 2:00 in the morning and there's no one on the platform,
Well, that's a different story. But there you go. That's even you having a sense of the fact that it could be seen as sort of annoying, uncomfortable, whatever for people.
Yeah.
And that there's time and place. I mean, I suppose that's it for time and place.
I bark at people out of the window of my truck, but I can't stand the actual puppet. Let's see. Littering is a big one for me.
Yeah.
Asking nosy questions.
The difference between, I think for me that a pet peeve about question asking really becomes based on what I perceive the person's motivation is. If I think you're asking me questions because you don't understand what I'm saying or you need more explanation, so you're asking me more pointed questions, but the point of it is for you to be able to understand me, I'm okay with that. If you're pushing me to answer questions because it reinforces some maybe even errant idea you have about who I am or what I'm doing, and it's like fishing. Pushy questions that are fishing for stuff is way more annoying to me than people who are maybe asking the same nature of questions, but they're doing it with a different motivation.
Yeah, I agree. Cutting people off when driving, stating you look tired, smacking your gum.
Here's the worst one than you look tired is, how come why don't you smile? And it's gotten to the point where I just say, because I have resting bitch face. Any other questions? Like,
oh, laughing loudly. Oh my God. Oh, there's this guy that goes to Smitten's fucking parties. His laugh is so fucking, oh, maybe I shouldn't. Anyway, his laugh, Shredder, you know who I'm talking about? His laugh is like, you've not heard him laugh?
that's pretty loud.
I don't know.
Next time you go, you'll see. And when it happens, text me.
Okay.
Because
That is one of these things. These whole things about pet peeves is if you weren't aware of them and someone makes you aware of them, and all of a sudden, like the train door thing, I never noticed it the way I do now, but it annoys me as much now as it ever has you, and it's only because you made me aware of it.
let's see, laughing loudly. Oh, I can feel.
Oh,
like
the
dying.
LOL in texts.
Lazy.
I use that one because I don't get all the rest of the emojis.
Laziness, bragging.
Bragging bothers me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I may need to rethink this over time because I've been sort of rethinking some of it, but people who just toot their own horn just to do it, I just find it really off-putting. Like it doesn't make me, it's not, like you like to say sometimes, it's not attractive. Bragging's not attractive to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So what they meant by that was people who say LOL out loud. Instead of laughing, haha, they go LOL.
Oh, that's silly. Okay, even I don't do that. Oh, you mean like all of those things when they say about, hey, I met you IRL. Do you know how long it takes me to learn any of that stuff? Like, that's it. So there's an acronym called SMFH. Do you know how long it took me to learn what that meant? Like all that stuff.
So Paul says, I'm glad I'm hearing all this before I spend the weekend with you. 6 says, I chew gum so loud, however, I only do it alone at work, and I absolutely hate hearing chewing.
6, exactly. I don't chew gum because I don't know how to chew it any other way, and I think it's the most annoying thing ever.
Let's see, blasting music. Yes. Especially 4 o'clock in the morning.
Right outside my window.
Eating someone else's food. If it's a consistent thing of that's my food, don't eat it. Yes.
This one is all about boundaries.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Right? It's like if and negotiation, right? If you're gonna live with people, sound of flip-flops, that's a good one. Like if I have food or we're in a shared communal space and we say food's for everyone or not, but if there's something in the refrigerator, and we're good about it here, that's not an issue. But like people who feel like it's always okay to just eat whatever's around without having any regard for who it belongs to. Or even worse, without any mind for replenishing what they took.
Oh.
Like if you're in a communal workspace and people have their own snacks or whatever, it's like if I had a box of granola bars, whatever. If you want one and you take one, that's great. But if you take them consistently, I expect you to bring me a box. to replenish the ones that you ate over the course of the last 2 or 3 boxes.
A lot of these are boundaries, but a lot of them are mindfulness too.
Yeah. Oh.
So that's snoring, saying "I'm sorry you feel that way," eating smelly food in public.
What is smelly food in public?
So
That would be a pet peeve.
downtown, when I used to work downtown, I would buy dumplings from across the street. This Chinese spot. It's $1 dumplings, 5 dumplings for $1. Now, when you're eating them, they smell one way, but when you're not eating them, they smell like wet, dirty socks.
Ew.
And they smell hard. Like
That's
they have a
fish sauce.
hard, the fish sauce.
Fish sauce. That's what fish sauce.
But that's that type of scenario.
So you mean while they're not being eaten,
Or like
they're
someone
sitting-
microwaving fish, and it smells up the space.
Right, or it smells like the space,
Right.
right? Or somebody cooking mushrooms and it smells like the space.
Or that. Looking at your cell phone when someone's talking,
Yes.
not taking responsibility.
But the flip side to that is not talking to someone while they're on their cell phone. Right? Like if I start talking to you and I'm trying to talk to you and then you pick up your phone,
Uh-huh.
that's inconsiderate to me. Just like that. Wise guys. However, if you're in the middle of something on your phone and I just walk up to you and start going whatever without it's like it's
Yeah.
disregarding in either way. Like
It's circumstantial
yeah,
in a
it
lot
depends
of
on
cases.
what it is. Like in any case, just be mindful of the fact that just because you have something pressing to say doesn't mean someone's ready to hear it right this second. Like you got to give them a second to like get their attention off of whatever they're doing, or to be able to say to you, "Not right now. I don't have the I don't want to hear that right now. I don't have the room for it right now." Instead of just people who think that what they have to say is so important the minute that they have to say it, everyone should stop what they're doing.
Not taking responsibility. Leaving the toilet seat up. Complaining.
Talk to me as a male-bodied person. Talk to me about leaving the seat up.
So I am lucky in the sense that with gravity, I can sit on the toilet and know it's hanging in there because I just gotta make sure it doesn't hit the bowl. So I'll just sit on the toilet so I don't have to worry about the end or anything like that because I can just let it hang in there. And I've never had an issue.
Right, and you mostly live with women
Yeah.
for the most part, right? I mean, have you been in like all guy roommate situations? Do you just leave the toilet seat up?
No.
Because guys have to sit on the toilet too.
No, we don't. I didn't know where I was going to go with that joke.
And that's our show, folks.
I didn't. I was going to go somewhere with that joke, but it was too funny. I stepped on myself. Right? No, I mean, but I'm mindful, right? Because I don't
Right.
like a dirty toilet seat, right? So I aim, and if I don't hit the mark, I clean up.
Yeah, no, you're really good. I just thought maybe you would share some insight of having known other men or heard rationale that men give for why. The one rationale I heard is, well, you don't put the seat back up after you sit in it. Like it's as much a woman's responsibility to leave the seat up for a man as it is for a man to put the seat down for a woman. But that never really went very far with me. So there's just always been this sense of like, what's the deal?
Also, if I'm on my cell phone, right, I can sit and know I'm not going to miss. So that's what we talk about here on Kink Collective.
Yes.
So let's see. Where'd this list? Did we flip?
We also have stuff, if you want to switch up from the list. The list goes on forever.
But these are great.
These are great. This is just, what I want to do is real quick review, because in this list that Master Hurricane sent, there were types of pet peeves. So
Yes,
categories
let's do
of
that.
pet
Let's
peeves,
do
right?
that.
So social etiquette pet peeves. These involve behaviors that violate social norms or expectations in public or private settings.
We should have went with Master Hurricane's list first. Thank you, Master Hurricane. I didn't even doubt you. I
You
screwed
just picked
up.
one over the other. Interrupting during conversations, talking during movies, or not covering your mouth, right? Those would be social etiquette ones. Workplace pet peeves in professional environments, micromanagement, being late to meetings, or unnecessary reply all emails. That's like texting everyone. Being in a text thread and then everyone has to get notification from every stupid thing everybody says. Yeah.
That or when something could have been handled in an email and not a meeting.
Yeah, that too. So personal space and privacy pet peeves: standing too close during conversations, looking at someone's phone without permission, and clipping nails in public. Communication pet peeves: using literally incorrectly in every sentence, one-upping stories, competing with someone else's experiences can be dismissive, and passive-aggressive comments. So these were all some of the things, only organized better. Thank you very much.
Now, I also understand the difference between sharing a common experience. Oh, I've also experienced something like that.
Right.
Versus, well, I climbed the other taller mountain.
Right. The only time that one-upping is clever or cute is when, like in your case, when you're standing around with 2 or 3 or 4 of the guys you've known since you were kids, and then you get into it and you start one-upping each other's stories from the past. Those are amusing. You're not trying to, like, in real time one-up anybody in the here and now. You're sort of riffing on each other's experiences from a different time in a way that's really fun.
Yeah.
And so that's the one place where I could see that it is okay to do, cute to do.
Paul said, "You've never pooped in a urinal?"
No. I've never peed in a urinal either, although I would like to be able to. Another story. Okay, so behavioral pet peeves: loud chewing or slurping, tapping pens or feet, leaving dirty dishes in communal spaces. And then she went right off the deep end.
The trifecta.
Trifecta.
I said.
While you leave dishes in the sink.
I said, could I do that all at the same time? It's like rubbing your belly and patting your head.
Right, exactly.
I can't do that.
Let's see. Navigate. So those are recognizing different types of pet peeves. So then it says, how can you become mindful of them or navigate them in a relationship? So open and honest communication. First step is to communicate openly about your feelings. Use I statements to express how certain behaviors affect you without blaming your partner. For example, instead of saying, "You always leave your socks everywhere," you might say, "I feel overwhelmed when there are socks left around." And I know that seems like hair splitting, but if you're actually in a conversation, it makes a difference in the ability to navigate a challenging conversation.
That's where language matters. That's where the words matter.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely worth it.
Yeah, because telling me how you feel is so much easier to hear than telling me what you think I'm doing wrong. I don't ever respond to, "You do this and this is what's wrong." I respond so much better to, "This is how I feel when this happens." Totally different communication for me.
2, seek understanding. Recognize that everyone has different backgrounds and habits. Try to understand where your partner is coming from. For instance, if they grew up in an environment where leaving dishes in the sink was normal, it may not seem like a big deal to them.
Yeah, I had a roommate once who, like, if the dishes were done and you ate ice cream late and the sink wasn't, then you left the spoon in the sink, she'd lost her mind.
Yeah. Choose your battles. Not every pet peeve needs to be addressed. Determine which issues genuinely bother you and which ones you can overlook. If the behavior does not significantly impact the relationship, it might be worth letting go.
Yes, choosing your battles is an important point of navigating it.
Bobby pins.
Well,
Bobby pins.
they're not here right now. They don't bother me. I think for the most part, they don't bother me. I think they're kind of amusing, and then I just pick them up and throw them.
I just pick them up too. They don't bother
I just put them in one place.
And contact.
And then I think, I wonder how many bobby pins they have to buy.
Yes, I thought that too.
I thought that too. Listen, I thought it too.
Yeah. Fortunately, they're not expensive, so it's not my, then there's the word bobby pins. That's funny, Mr. King.
Practice empathy. Consider that you also have habits that might annoy your partner. By putting yourself in their shoes, you can approach the situation with kindness and understanding.
Mm-hmm. Using superlatives builds a wall. I like that.
Seek solutions together. Instead of merely pointing out the problem, collaborate with your partner to find solutions. For example, if forgetting anniversaries is an issue, set reminders together or create a shared calendar.
Yeah, that's a simplistic one. I think some of the ones that are when there's issues where there's like feeling on both sides, and I get the sense that neither of us are being devoid of feeling or on the more rational side. Those are the conversations that are harder to thread. When there's feelings on both sides that I think are shifting or coloring the ability to perceive the other one, those are hard conversations to navigate. So if you both have really strong feelings about the pet peeves and the tendency is to want to go, well, you shouldn't do this. It's like we're in emotional land that is harder to navigate.
Yeah. Compromise. Relationships thrive on compromise. While it's valid for certain habits to irritate you, both partners should be willing to give and take. If one person can tolerate leaving the bathroom light on occasionally, perhaps the other can handle some clutter.
That's a lot of compromise. That's cool. For those of you who have relationships like that you can do that with, my hats are off to you.
Reframe perspective. Try viewing your partner's quirks as endearing rather than annoying.
I've had to do that with the whistling.
With me?
No, with anyone.
Oh.
Right, and that's that reframing you heard me do, like, and you do it too, and it bothers me way less now than it ever has in my life. But what I've done for years, when somebody whistles, I remind myself that they're having a happy moment. There's nothing wrong, nothing bad is going on. They're not doing it to be annoying. They're doing it because it's like singing a song to yourself, and you're in a happy enough space with yourself to do it. And I use that to walk me through the agitation that it gives me.
Yeah. Let's see. The shift in perspective can help alleviate irritation and foster appreciation for their uniqueness. Seek external guidance if necessary. If certain pet peeves become overwhelming or lead to significant conflict, consider seeking couples therapy or counseling for professional guidance.
I do think sometimes that being overly fixated on pet peeves in a relationship can be an indicator that there's other deeper stuff that needs to be looked at. I do think that's true. And so if the pet peeve thing doesn't resolve itself, going to therapy might be smart, because you might find out what's underneath it that's keeping you from resolving the pet peeve stuff.
Yeah. Regularly check in about the relationship. Just as regular health checkups are important, having regular discussion about what's working and what isn't in your relationship can help address emerging pet peeves before they escalate into bigger issues.
Thank you. That was all very solid, Master Hurricane.
Solid indeed.
And now we can go through the rest of the list and see what ones haven't been mentioned so
Scroll
far.
up on the comments so we can make sure we stay up on that.
Okay.
All right, so while you scroll up,
If your partner has a beard and comes home without one, can you yell stranger danger? Sit in calmness to work things out.
here we go. Scraping a plate with a fork or a knife. Talking trash about the TV show someone likes. Playing loud music on public transit. Bing, bing, bing.
There it is.
Leaving someone's text on read. I read it. Thought it was read.
Oh.
Immature jokes at work. Come on. It all depends. That's relative.
If only they knew some of your joke stories, your work joke stories.
Burping. Being added to group chats. Getting stuck in traffic. Having to repeat yourself. One-upping someone's stories.
Maybe that's my hearing thing. But if people found it annoying to be asked to repeat themselves even one time, those are people that I wouldn't be able to be very close to, because I can't hear anything that anybody says without having to ask them to say it 3 times, and it's not because there's anything wrong with you. It's because of my hearing.
But you say that up front.
I try to now that I'm aware of it. But I think this is speaking to the fact that there are people who just feel like it's annoying to have to repeat themselves.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Mishandled food deliveries. One-upping people's stories. No offense. Saying no offense before saying something offensive.
Offensive, right? Oh my God. I don't like to do this, but...
People who copy your input. I have a story of a person by the name of I won't say his name, but we'll call him Dick. And Dick invited me onto a panel that he was on with research that we were doing. And my language that I was using in these groups was copied by Dick. But Dick never said anything to me about, no, that's not true. Dick agreed with me. But then moving forward, he would use it like
Like
it was his own the whole time.
without giving you credit.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Bosses do that all the time
That
too.
belies a certain kind of character, I think.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Food bandits.
That's what we're talking about, the stealing the granola bars at work. Or
Saying,
raccoons, because raccoons are food bandits.
saying LOL in real life. Spoilers. Oh. Tailgating. Last minute.
Oh man,
Tailgate.
I learned how to drive in driver's ed in high school, and in driver's ed, you're shown a multitude of videos of the safe distance to drive behind cars and what happens when you don't and what happens when you try to slam on. And they do it visually. They put you in this from the standpoint of you're watching a screen, and cars are either ahead of you appropriately or not, and then you stop, and there's a part of your brain that learns what that's supposed to look like. I can't tailgate, and when someone gets up too close to me, I will sit on my brakes until they back up. And that's just it. My piece for tailgating.
Last minute assignments. I'm guilty of last minute assignments.
Giving them or turning them in?
Giving them. It's 4:00 and your boss emails you about a major assignment. I'm big on, like, I do that a lot. But it's like priorities shift. Like, things evolve really quickly here.
Absolutely. And I think that the key is to not necessarily not do it, but to do it with the context of understanding.
Yeah.
Right?
The sound of styrofoam on styrofoam, kind of like the chalk on the nails on the chalk. Leaving hair in the drain and sink. Hurricane said that earlier. Never offering to contribute toward a bill.
When people don't, oh yeah, I'll stop. Those people I won't go out with if they seemingly intentionally try to get out of paying what's their fair share. I just don't want to deal with that.
I have a plan. I have a plan on addressing those that I've had to do that over time.
Yeah. Yeah, the opposite, in all fairness, the opposite happens in my family. Everybody wants to pay the bill and we fight over it when it comes. So whenever I'm with my family and I don't want that to happen, I just excuse myself as soon as receipted, go to the bathroom, ask to find the server and give them my credit card and tell them not to bring it to the table.
I don't forget a meal often.
Oh, when someone offers to buy you a meal. Yeah.
I don't forget that stuff. Leaving the lights on in an empty room, yes, I'm guilty of that as a pet peeve. Why are there lights on? Because it's 10 o'clock at night. Why are there lights on?
But you say that any time of day. You don't like light.
Yeah, no, that's why it was a joke. It was 10 o'clock at night.
I know. But you say that at 10 o'clock in the morning. Why are there lights on? It's 10 o'clock in the morning.
Rushing onto or off of a plane. Yes. Oh
my God.
What I like to do is I like to stand up immediately because I'm in an aisle seat and just stop the traffic behind me. So no one runs past, none of that shit. Like, I get up immediately so I can stretch, and that's to prevent anyone from trying to get up and grab their bags and move forward. You're not gonna. Behind me, you're gonna wait. Because that's annoying as fuck.
Well, I mean, there is, though. It's like, why merging creates such bottlenecks? Because people don't know how to merge fairly. It's really simple. I go, then you go. Then I go, then you go. And if everyone would be on that page, but there's always the person that wants to, like, double ahead because they're more important, they're in a faster rush, blah, blah, blah. Like, if planes just, like, people get up and they get out.
I can understand, like, if you're connecting on a flight.
Right. And usually...
And you'll say that. Listen, I'm trying to catch a flight, but it's
or
like...
if it's a really situation, that they'll say it over the loudspeaker. They'll say, look, there's people on this flight who are trying to catch a flight. Will you give them the courtesy to let them get off sooner? And then it's legit. Then it's not just a person trying to rush around.
Yeah, zipper merging, 100%.
Why do I feel like Josh is becoming my twin? That's so funny.
Excessive yawning.